United States' own anti-Asian history, because Asian Americans came in not necessarily knowing about the Chinese Exclusion Act or the internment of Japanese Americans in the United States during World War II. And I think that Asian Americans are used as a buffer between the Black community and the white community, because in the 1960s, there was almost a racial reckoning. The white power structure almost had to face accountability for the history of violence against Black people. But instead, Asian Americans were inserted and were pit against each other, so that we're always up against each other, and that basically, like, white supremacy escapes accountability. And the example that I think of that sort of started like the root of a lot of tension is Asian Americans were buying into the negative media stereotypes of Black people. And then in the events that led up to what became known as the LA riots, the LAPD kettled protests away from wealthy white neighborhoods and into Koreatown, and then they left. And we know how that played out. So again, the two communities being pitted against each other and away from the white power structure. And obviously the model minority myth is used to oppress the Black community. And there's so much here. I will be getting more into it, but I feel like that's the quickest answer that I can give that gets a little bit into the history, and I'm really curious to know what the Black community and Asian Americans feel about this, but please be patient with me. Thank you.
I'm watching the protests with my parents and they're asking, why is this happening? So to all my first generation millennials and Gen Z who are not Black, now is the time to have really tough conversations with them to help break the anti-Blackness they were taught. And here's what you say. You need to tell your parents to check their privilege, because we would not be here if it weren't for the Black community. After the 1965 Civil Rights Act passed, immigration quotas were opened, allowing so many of us to enter. The white community created the model minority to pin Asians and Blacks against each other. This idea of assimilating to be as white as possible created a false sense of superiority since we were white adjacent. But we'd never have those same liberties. And we see that with the response to the Chinese virus and the increase in violent attacks against us, especially Asian women, who are 3 times more likely to be targeted. And we can't call out those hate crimes without calling out this.
I've never answered a question like this before, and it cuts me up. Like, what did they have to tell you to make you hate us? So in Asian families, especially immigrant Asian families, we have our own version of a race talk. Mine was a Chinese family, and in our house, the talk sounded like soft racism, not like eugenics. There was never any insulting of Black intelligence or Black abilities or Black people. It was more practical than that. And it was all about safety. If you want to be safe, you have to align yourself with power. And if you want a piece of the American dream, you need to follow the money, follow the power, and that meant following the white brick road. My dad told me that I could marry a white man or a Chinese man, but preferably a white man and not a Black man. So what's unspoken there is that Asian men don't have much power either, and Black men have less, but white men have all the power. And me as an Asian girl had no power at all, that all of my power depended on a man. So it's not just soft racism, it's also soft sexism. And that is the model minority brainwash in a nutshell. It is based on a terrible dark side of the American dream that is anti-Blackness. It cuts me.
Guys, let me tell you what happened today. Hi guys, I came here to rant. I had such an awful experience today, and it's so annoying because my day actually started out really great. I woke up, went to the gym, I went to get my hair done today. I know, it looks good, but that's not the point. Tell me why I finished my hair. I went to Stratford because I had an appointment for my phone. I have this weird thing going on with my phone, so I went to Apple, and then I was like, oh, while I wait, because I had like a 1 hour wait, I was like, let me take a look around. I had entered some of the stores, but I always shop from Primark. I'm a Primark babe. And So I was picking out my item, and then my reminder, burst, and I was like, oh my god, I only have 10 minutes for my missing an apple. So I just left everything in my boxes. Sorry, in my basket. I asked one of the ladies, like, oh, could I please keep this basket? I'll be back. And I bought some couple of things from other stores that I even had in the basket. And she was like, yeah, sure. So I went for my appointment, came back, and I went to look for, I was like, oh, I'm back now, right? So she then said, oh, yeah, sure. She brought it up for me. As I got there was a lady looking for her phone. She was an Asian lady looking for her phone, being very frantic and stuff. And I can understand if you lost your phone. At first she was like, oh, she gave it to the lady taking the tags. I was like, no, you didn't. She kept going back in and out looking for the phone. I was even, looking, I was about to say, oh, do you want to try to call the phone? But then I picked my basket and I was sorting my stuff out. Tell me why our sister then comes, and obviously at this point he tried to start calling the phone. The sister comes close to me, standing right next to me, and was dialing the number. And I'm like, okay. At first I was like, but I'm like, no, can't be what I'm thinking it is. Then obviously the store managers were like, oh, we're so sorry, we're gonna take your details, and if anything comes up we'll let you know. And then the actual lady herself walks up to me and says, my phone is here, pointing to my pocket. I was like, huh? She's like, yeah, my phone is with you, I'm looking for my phone. And I was like, excuse you? And I just said that I cursed that out so bad.
So let's talk about why Asian Americans really hate black people, and they are claiming that the hate for blackness was never unintentional. It was just taught through some steps that they could not avoid: the fear, the threat, protection, and everything. Through families, they have been learning this thing from day one, from time to time. They describe this thing through learning through something, through generations, through families. It has been being passed through to them. Now, this video, I'm covering why they feel like now they have to speak it out openly that they never hated black, that they are thought about black scary, black danger, safety, just being safe from the black people. I have clips here. Watch them. I'll come back and finish the video and talk more, tell you more about why anti-black badness is now coming to an end.
So proud of myself. And like, my phone was in my pockets, right? Because I was wearing linen pants that had pockets. So I brought out my phone, and then I was like, is this your phone? I was like, are you mad? Like, are you crazy? And then the someone, just to be fair to them, immediately she was like, oh, my phone. They were like, no, you can't be accusing someone. I was like, are you crazy? Are you actually crazy? And then she walked away. I was like, that's so rude and so disrespectful. Why? Because I'm black. I stole your phone. And those ones were like trying to pacify me, and they were like, oh my god, that's so weird, that's so wrong. I was like, she should come back and apologize, because she still kept looking at me. I was like, are you stupid? Oh my god, I was so upset. It was so upsetting. And think about it, like, I just had my hair done, it's hot, the weather is very humid, I've been running back and forth, like, it just really got on my nerves. Obviously, being falsely accused of stealing was not on my bingo card this morning. But again, I just talk about how, again, it was racial profiling. Like, you see a black person, the only black person around you, and automatically she's the one that stole your phone. Like, come on. I was so upset. And I'm so glad I didn't keep quiet. I was like, that you're actually out of your mind. Like, you're actually crazy. Like, why? Because I'm black, I stole your phone. And then everyone was pacifying me. I was like, she should fucking apologize. Like, she should say sorry. Like, why would you even think that? So one of the store managers went to tell her, I was like, oh, you can't be accusing people. Your phone is lost. We're going to take a look at the cameras and try to find it for you. But yeah, an Asian lady was racist towards me today at Primark, Stratford. And yeah, that really upsets me. Genuinely, kind of ruined my day, if I'm being honest. And the weather as well. But yeah, that happened. And I said, she come and rant to you. I actually feel much better. And there's so many, as a black girl, there's so many microaggressive things that happen towards us. It's so sad. Black people in general, but black girls specifically. It's just so sad and so annoying. But yeah, that happened today. Let me know if you guys have had a similar experience, or what would you have wanted me to do? Should I have? No, I'm just joking. But yeah, let me know what you guys would have done in this situation. It was very, very annoying. But yeah, send love and hugs and kisses.
I'm making this video as an Asian American to address my fellow Asian Americans who engage in anti-Black racism. Let's talk about this. For example, this right-wing Asian says, let me list all the problems that Black Americans face that is shared by people of no other race. Okay, list over. Yes, it is true. If a Black person has a problem, an Asian or white person has the same problem somewhere in America. There's nothing special about your race. This is, in short, white supremacy talking points. Let's address this. Here's just a very short list of the unique suffering that Black Americans have had to and still have to go through. 266 years enslavement, 99 years of Jim Crow, 300% maternal mortality rate, 2% the wealth of whites, explicitly denied the GI Bill, FHA loans, and college admissions, and Social Security access. SCOTUS ruled approval to commit Black genocide in Buck versus Bill, which, by the way, has never actually been overruled. Arrested 10 times more than whites for the exact same acts. And don't even get me started on the dozens and dozens of Black massacres committed by white supremacists throughout American history, through the 1980s, by vigilante groups, and by state government. Massacres for which reparations were never paid and none of the white supremacists were ever held accountable. And as an Asian American and human rights lawyer, I'm acutely aware of the anti-Asian racism throughout American history. Everything from the Chinese Exclusion Act to the Asiatic Exclusion League to the outright ban on Asian immigration in 1924. So how ridiculous do you think it sounds when Asians are anti-Black, when it was Black Americans and Black civil rights leaders who ensured that Asians would get their immigration rights back as part of the 1965 Civil Rights Acts? The civil rights movement influenced U.S. immigration policy intimately because Black civil rights leaders recognized their own history and did not want that same suffering on Asian Americans. Therefore, leaders like Dr. King demanded that Asian Americans, Latino Americans, basically anyone non-white immigrating to the United States would be given dignity and humanity. And finally, let's address this nonsense claim that Black people are the reason why Asian Americans can't get admission to Harvard or other Ivy League schools. Affirmative action is not your problem, because if you really blamed affirmative action, you'd be blaming white women. Why? Because more white women have benefited from affirmative action than every other racial demographic and minority combined. Yet, at no point do these Asian Americans who are anti-Black and blame Black people for affirmative action even bring up white women. Moreover, over 43% of white admissions to schools like Harvard would not have gotten admissions on credentials alone. They got admitted because they're legacy students. And the data shows that 3/4 of those white students were not qualified academically, meaning they took the spot of a more qualified Black, Latino, or Asian person. But it's funny how these anti-Black Asians have zero regard for this white supremacist policy of legacy, but they want to blame Black people. This is white supremacy in a nutshell. And to those Asians who say, hey, look, I stand with Black people, I don't believe in this kind of anti-Black racism, that isn't enough. You need to speak out and condemn this injustice with your voice and your actions.
An Asian American Guide to Being a Good Ally During Black History Month. 1. Call up all your Black friends. Ask them, hey buddy, you want to hang out? If they don't immediately say yes, like within 4 seconds, or their voice goes up, like, you think they're your friend. They don't think you're their friend. You owe them $50. 2. Support Black people's rights, but also Black people's wrongs. When she inevitably picks up that phone call from her 32-year-old ex-Navy Reserve, not even Navy Reserve, that still lives with his stepmom in the foothills, just be there for her with a box of tissues, being like, it's gonna be okay, bro. When they get in and out for lunch for the 3rd time this week, even though it's Wednesday and we're supposed to be on a health journey together, just give them a thumbs up from your salad. Number 3, when your bestie in public very loudly accuses you of calling them the N-word again, just go along with it. But don't cry, it ruins the joke.
Okay, welcome back now. Black people have been portrayed. You know the way they have been portraying Africa until Speed came to Africa and exposed every lie. That's how they have been portraying Black people, not just in the media, but even the family warning. They're being warned that be careful with a Black person, be careful with a Black man. So they have been learning it through people, through the media, through schools. They have been being warned about Black people. And I think it's about Black survival. Black survival has now been going to America. When that they maybe whenever they are these attacks from the other countries, they claim to be Black people, thieves, Black people. Anything that's dangerous to the country, they claim it to be a Black people thing. So the thing has made Asian American to hate Black people because they felt like this is true. They were dangerous. They were thieves. They were killers. They were all the bad names. Name them. So that thing has made anti-black bias to be taking over the different. I'm not trying to put all the Asian into this matter. Just trying to talk about some who never learned about how black people are being portrayed on the media, the TV, and how people survive out here. Maybe like immigrants coming from Africa, they go in America to work in the farm to make money for the family. Until at least, can you see that we are not maybe stealing money? We come, we work, get paid. We build home. We come, we work, we get paid. We go back home, we open a business. Don't go steal, kill somebody for no reason. That thing was just scary to people. They used to fear black people. But it wasn't a hate that it was supposed to be hate. It was being taught through some steps. All right? Anti-black bias has been destroyed by mostly by the Western medias. Talking about black, you see how much they were talking about black. They're always naming them names. After us fighting for the country, they still name us names. They still give us bad names. That thing has made people hate us. And I think it's about they wanted to make white to feel like it's safe than anything else. Not to make white to feel like it's a safe place to be. It's the safest place anybody can be. So they made us look bad for them to look good. There's no bad thing like destroying somebody's name for your name to be known, to be heard, to be respected, to be seen. We ain't competing here to be human. If only we're able to be, if only we're competing to be human, then we will be making. No, God, what will it be here making us? Somebody will be going somewhere. They build their own people from nothing to a human being. But we ain't competing about being good, being right, being safer, or not doing that. So they have made us look like we are dangerous to other communities, being warned against us. And I think it's that immigrants' stories coming from Africa, as I told you earlier, coming from Africa or coming from Mexico, coming from Costa Rica, they go to America, then they feel like now they're coming there to take over America because some people ain't white. They ain't white, but now they are not also black. So America was portraying black people as dangerous, as thieves, as thugs, as drug dealers. And you know what it costs? Some countries, you know how much it costs when you got arrested by being a drug dealer. You know the cost, right? So that thing made Asian to hate blackness so much because after these all things, we still have to sit here and talk to you. No, I'm not doing that. So those stories have been made by the Western media. They have never been able to portray blackness as something that's matter to anybody. They always see them as a threat, as dangerous, as thieves, as thugs, all those bad things. And then they portray Americans or the white as the best place, safer place, those good things about their country. Now, after all the struggle of Asians not trusting in black men, black person, black people, they went and be like, now, let's think of this. How about I make friends with black person? How about I make them a friend with a black person? How about I learn a black history? You see? How about I question a black history? So they came out here, made friendship with people. They went out there, learned black history. Now they are feeling sorry for not thinking of learning about black people, blackness. They have learned, and now they are asking questions. You said that black people are thieves. Where are they? They are dangerous. How are they? You have been staying with them in the same estate. I've never heard of them being that kind of people you are talking about, telling us in the media. So why were you portraying those names in the media that you should hate them? Why do you make us hate them? Feel me? So after you hearing something about somebody, can you go and find out, learn about that person? Just go and learn. Go and get an idea of somebody. Don't portray somebody's name in a bad way. Go learn. After learning, then you can now choose to do your own way. All right? So black people have been portrayed in a bad way, but Asian Americans went and learned about black history. They went and make friendship. But black people, you've seen Asian men asking that they want to be married by black men. Why? After you, how can I be a danger and somebody who wants to marry me and they are Asian? Just a matter of learning, believing, and that's all. God bless you. Peace be with you. And I'm out till next episode. Bye. Adios.